Welcome to Subramani. Let me call this equities stock picking or portfolio building part 2. For part 1, I spoke about behavior. Now I'm going to talk about stock picking and valuation. Again, from the masters. One thing which I would love to say is buy winners, right? So companies which have done well will continue to do well. I mean, the seasons may change, but looking for the next HDFC Bank and looking for the next Indigo is not going to be easy, right? So some reason why these companies quote at a higher premium, why 400 mutual fund schemes have HDFC Bank or Reliance or things like that. Don't get into believing that you can go and find the next Reliance or the next HDFC Bank or what have you. Don't bother, or the next Cholamandalam. It's not going to be very easy for you to find a good NBFC at a low PE, dividend paying and all that. It's not going to be easy. So buy what people have already bought. Time tested dal chawal is better than trying something esoteric, especially if you have a test match tomorrow morning. Eating prawns tonight is not a great idea if you have a test match tomorrow. Any cricketer will tell you this, right? So make sure that you buy winners which have already proved themselves and keep adding to it. No harm. Every month buy 5 shares of HDFC Bank or 10 shares of HDFC Bank. Again, guys, just an example. I already have HDFC Bank. I also have ICICI Bank. I also have State Bank, right? So I'm just giving this as an. I also have Yes Bank. So with 4 banks, you don't know what weightage I have, but I keep buying whenever I get a chance. If I find that the price is attractive, I keep buying, right? So do that. Second, I'm struggling with my daughter also when I keep telling her that don't use PE as a universal tool, right? So it's easy to calculate. Every sell side guy makes it for you and gives it to you and say, oh, this is good. This is at a PE of 30 only. This is at a PE of 20 only. In the bull market, everybody says only PE of 20, only PE of 30. In the bear market, people say, oh God, it's too high. It's already at a PE of 15, right? So don't go by PE. It's the flavor of that season that you like a 20 PE or a 15 PE or a 30 PE. It's just that. Today, if there was an AI stock listed in India, it could have a PE of 2000. Makes no sense. It may not have any earning, but it will have a price. So don't get carried away by PE. Understand what is PE. It is very important. I'm not saying PE is not important. You can't buy at any PE. But look at PE, look at the valuation and say, yeah, it's a useful tool. It's not the only tool. It's a good indicator. If a PE is 50 or 80, you still need to investigate what has happened. Oh, this year they had a problem, so the EPS has fallen. The EPS always used to be 40. This year it fell to 5 or 8 or something like that, and next year it could go back to 40. In such cases, PE could be dramatically high for that year, right? The market may say, let us see, after the PE, after the earnings increase, we will buy. So during that period, it could have a very high PE. So PE makes no sense in such cases. PE makes no sense in case of commodities, right? So commodities you should be buying when the PE is very high. And you should keep looking. If the PE is low, it may be a good attractive thing to buy, and sometimes it could be very scary saying, oh my god, this commodity cycle in steel is going to last 10 years. I don't have the ability to understand 10 years, so I will get out of steel, or I'll get out of large cap IT, right? So any of these things. So use PE as a helper, not as the only thing. Also, PE does not work for loss-making companies. PE does not work for companies which are in the growth phase. So in 2020, Indigo would have had a dramatically high PE and made it look very unattractive, right? So that could have happened. But today, it's the world's most valuable airline. Same thing for a Zomato or a Paytm or any of these things. The PE would have been dramatically high, right? Lenskart, latest hero or villain, depending on how the share price performs. So don't get carried away by PE. Calculate the PE, use it as an indicator. If you don't understand and you're a research analyst, ask a fund manager on at what PE he or she is comfortable in buying it, right? So find that out. Also understand that low PE or low valuation does not mean anything. Some companies just don't get a high PE. Vedanta, for example, just does not get a high PE. So if it's a commodity company, it will not get a high PE. Now Reliance why is Reliance hiving off parts of its business? Because it knows some parts of its business will get a higher PE than the main business, which is a oil refining business, like a commodity. Oh, it's a fossil fuel, so people internationally people don't like it, right? So people won't buy it, but they'd happily buy geo communication, geo finance, and geo retail. If all these are separated, they'll get a higher PE. So value unlock is what is happening. They're just playing the PE market. Another set of investors who are playing the PE market are investors who could list abroad. So if I have a company, let's say my parent company is in Italy, I could get myself listed in Italy, or I could get myself listed in India. In Italy, when I try listing my company, I get a PE of 5. In India, if I try listing, I get a PE of 50. Where will I list? Fairly obvious, I list in India. So many people are playing the PE game. So you be careful about understanding PE and using PE. They are two completely different things. Low valuation does not mean anything. A company could be undervalued and could remain undervalued and die there undervalued, right? There used to be a company called Noida Toll Bridge, and I used to have this discussion. I've had this discussion 2-3 times with Parag Parikh, the promoter of PPFAS. And he would say it's a good dividend yield and all that, and I would say, boss, but I don't know whether they're collecting, all the money is being reflected and things like that. I think the company has gone to dogs. I always thought in value investing, if I don't know how the value is going to be unlocked, I should stay away. So to me, Noida Toll Bridge was a company which is always very attractive, good dividend yield, but never made money for the shareholders, including ILFS. That whole thing is a different saga. So the low valuation does not mean anything. A good company will not be available cheap just because you want to buy it, right? Cummins won't be available cheap. Yes, through its life cycle, sometimes it could be available cheap, but you may not be paying attention to it, right? So right now, is the PE high? Of course, the PE high. On the back of a 40% surge in EPS, will the PE be high? Of course, the PE will be high. So, but high PE may be worth buying and a low PE may not be worth buying. So check out that also. See, what happens is you can buy second-hand goods and stuff like that, but when the company's fundamentals are deteriorating, you have to do a far more detailed investigation and find out what is the reason. If you can't find out the reasons, stay away, right? There's a particular reason why the market has beaten down the share price, stay away. Not worth. You are a retail investor, right? I'm assuming you're a retail investor. It's not your job to look for the next HDFC Bank and all that. Let the Vallabh Bansalis of the world, let the Damanias of the world do all that. Let them do. Let them make a big part of the money. After that, you can go. You can buy HDFC Bank. You did not buy it in 1994. That's fantastic. But you could have bought it in 2004. You'd still have made money. You could have bought it in 2014. You'd have still made money. So, right. So nice, good, successful company, well run. Just go and buy it. Don't sit and think whether you should buy it, which is the next HDFC Bank. So next HDFC Bank, if you went and bought Yes Bank at 300 rupees, you've been cleaned out, right? So find out, don't be in a hurry to do all that. Buy good companies, but if the fundamentals are deteriorating 1 or 2 quarters, speak to some analyst, somebody, or just get out. If you don't know why it is coming down, just get out. Another thing which I do, which I'm saying you could just copy, is I average up. So I may have bought my first Indigo at 800 and my most expensive Indigo at 5,400, right? So both prices. So did I buy it at 800? Yes. Did I buy it at 5,400? Yes. What is my average cost? Maybe it is 2,000. The more and more I buy at higher and higher prices, my average cost will keep going up. So I prefer averaging up. But when the share price comes down, I may just take my losses very quickly, right? But when I'm averaging up and suddenly I find, let's say today the price of Indigo is 5,400 and suddenly I find in 3 days great results, whatever, and the price goes to 6,500, I'll sell off maybe 100 shares. It makes no great sense to sell off everything. That is not what I'm going to do. I may sell off 100 or 200 shares. These shares are more likely to be there permanently in my portfolio. So I would sell off some shares. So you can't say I only buy on SIP. Yes, I buy on SIP. I may be buying, I may have allocated say 50,000 rupees for it. So today if the share price is 6,000, I'm going to get only 8 shares. Either I increase the allocation, or I say that's fine, let me accumulate more slowly now, because it's the most valuable airline in the world, and I don't have the guts to go and put too much money. I don't mind putting 50,000 rupees or 1 lakh in it every year for 5 years, right? So that, rather than saying I have to finish all my buying today, I don't have to. So you can add to winners, that is calling averaging on the way up. I do average on the way up, I do average on the way down. If I have to sell, I just sell ruthlessly, but I sell very quickly. So am I taking a 20 lakh rupee loss on a single stock? Not possible at all. I would have sold it much earlier. But of course, if something goes wrong and you have the promoters fighting and all that, you may have to take such a big bet, but I have not had those problems. Thank you.